Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lance here, and bringing you guys another video. This one is, what is this? The third video, but the second video in the series. So the very first video is the overview of the 5 critical elements of a permanent transformation. And yesterday we talked about metabolism. Today we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence. This one's a huge one. This one's a huge one. This is an emotional intelligence and mindset. So we're going to kind of chat about this one. Very first thing I've got to acknowledge is like I feel like I'm turning into a different shade of a blueberry here with my my blue tank and blue here, and they're different shades, but still I just look up and I'm like, my gosh, that's a lot of blue. Anyway, there's the random thought of the day. So nevertheless, guys, if you're just tuning in and you're watching live or replay, be sure to hashtag live or replay in the comments below. Thanks for watching also. This one here, you may be thinking like, oh, this one's not about diet, or that, you know, I don't really need this one. I want to absolutely implore you to stay and listen to this, because I would say that this one, along with metabolism, is probably one of the most, man, I honestly, no, I'm just going to say that this is probably the reason that most people fail to reach a transformation that lasts. In fact, I would even dare to say that most of the time, this is what keeps people from ever even reaching the finish line. It's that strong. So what is emotional intelligence? What is mindset whenever it comes to getting in shape? Very first thing you need to know is that this isn't only about getting in shape. My videos that I do, my emails that I write, what we teach on, what we coach on, these are all things that should be universal principles or practices. And what I mean by that is that when we work with somebody as, going through a life coaching transformation or a fitness coaching transformation, those processes are going to be very, very similar whenever it comes to emotional intelligence, mindset alignment, and habits. And the fact is that that's a good thing. It's a good thing because when you learn the tools, instead of just learning like, oh, Coach Lance told me this is what I'm supposed to eat. Instead, you're going to be learning the tools of like energy balance. Okay, instead of just which foods to eat, you're going to learn energy balance, which tells you how to even understand how to choose foods. Likewise, rather than learning like how often to work out, you're going to learn how to fit those things into your lifestyle. There's a difference between internalizing and simply memorizing. And there's a difference between learning a couple of rules versus learning why the rules even fit into the process altogether. So that's what we're talking about today, is emotional intelligence and mindset. So the whole deal here is that emotional intelligence and mindset usually will lead to self-sabotage if it's not being taken care of. And what I mean is simply this. This is going to be for us the ability to navigate through emotions that usually lead to self-sabotage. So what that means is that you've had a stressful day. These emotions can be the catalyst for new habits, meaning that you're going to choose something that helps you after a stressful day rather than something that adds to the scale. What I'm simply stating is that a lot of times our lack of use of emotional intelligence prevents us from breaking the patterns or creating what's called a pattern interruption, allowing us to stop the patterns that we don't want. And the fact is that what happens is we're stressed and yet we eat food. Okay? That's kind of like, waking up in the morning and needing to brush your teeth and brushing your hair. It's a brush, it did way different things. It doesn't do the same thing. It doesn't solve the same problem. And that's the issue that we have here, is that you are creating a solution, food, or something that may be taking you out of alignment with your goals in order to, satiate or satisfy some sort of temporary pain that you're feeling. Point is that if you're bored or sad or lonely or stressed, the answer to those shouldn't be food, but without emotional intelligence, if we've created those habits, it will be food. And it will be drugs or alcohol or sex, or it will be avoidance or some variation of numbing and escapism. This is where emotional intelligence and mindset conditioning comes in. So the fact is that we want to be able to course correct rather than give up or basically lean into shame spirals. So that's one of the things that occurs quite often is when we get out of alignment with what we know to be something that leads us to where our goals are, we begin shaming ourselves. And this is another misuse or neglect of emotional intelligence. Because what happens is we start using some sort of negative reinforcement, which does not work, it definitely not in the long term anyway, and it doesn't feel good. We fall into those things. Now, again, this has nothing to do with diet or exercise, but yet these dang things will take you so fast off that course of proper diet and exercise, you won't even know what hit you. But yet nobody is focusing on these things. So the fact is that if you're not working on being able to course correct, and what we talk about is the ability to respond rather than react. So you had a stressful day. If you react, you might grab a Kit Kat. If you have a stressful day and you respond, you might do an alignment session. Now you may not know what that means. That's something that we do in our program. The point is that one of those things feels good for a moment and feels horrible later. That's the eating whenever you're actually stressed. The other one actually creates not just a better change of state for you momentarily, but is going to lead to better circumstances long-term and better emotions or balance of emotions. Yet we continue to choose the one that takes us off of our goals, doesn't serve us, but still feels good. These are the sort of things that, unless we're using emotional intelligence, when we get stressed, when we get nervous, when we get overwhelmed, when we feel tired, when we feel lonely, all of these emotions are going to lead to some sort of action. Whether that action is in consequence or in alignment of your goals or in alignment of your old habits that led to where you are now, that depends on emotional intelligence and your mindset. What is your focus? So the other thing that we focus on here is being able to recognize wins besides just the pounds on the scale. This is another example of emotional intelligence and mindset focus. So not being able to focus on all of the data markers is something that usually leads to big setbacks for most people. Why? Because of the fact that they get on the scale, they don't realize that the scale doesn't tell the full story. Maybe they only dropped a pound because they've gained 2.5 pounds of muscle, or because they haven't digested food yet, whatever the reason is. So even though they're on the right path, headed the right direction to get to the goal that will make them feel the most confident, they unfortunately get disappointed based on that number that they thought should be different on this scale because they didn't take all of the data markers. And unfortunately, it leads to a feeling of failing, a feeling of not being adequate, so on and so forth. All the negative things that come with the scale, the numbers. The fact is that what we want to focus on is being able to identify not just one win, such as the scale, but multiple wins, such as strength, better sleep, better confidence, fitting better into clothing, having more energy, vitality, being able to throw away medicines, being able to catch the attention of your significant other and feeling like you're starting to win them back because your confidence is helping you to become your old self. Not the old self that you wish you weren't and that has regrets. The old self that you wish that without the stresses that you could be again. Is this making sense, guys? This is why emotional intelligence and mindset focus or subconscious reprogramming is such a pertinent stage of your fitness journey if you want it to be permanent. So the final one that I want to talk with you about is being able to overcome emotional eating. Now, again, there are tons more related to emotional intelligence and mindset, but these are some of the most, I would say, common, most frequent ones that we see are these four. That we work on within those things, and these are the ones that hopefully you might be able to see like, oh wow, I can totally see how these things not being focused on could lead to self-sabotage and me not being able to follow my program long enough to see the results. This is where we need to be focusing. If you're only focusing on external processes, meaning just tightening up the reins on diet and fixing things on workout and exercise physiology, you're going to have major holes in your system if you even have a system at all. And this is where, again, this is why businesses, you've heard how like literally 1 in 5 businesses make it out of 5 or 7 years, 5 to 7 years. This is the same reason, guys. The same reason that businesses fail is the same reason that we fail at fitness and the same reason that marriages fail. I know that people don't want to hear that, but it does come down to the same thing. We're out of alignment with our habits and mindset, with the goals and the desires that we have. It's just that simple. If your marriage, now again, I'm talking about where there are extreme situations, and I know your mind goes there, no, but you don't get it because he or she, yes, those are extreme. But I'm talking about those situations where you're like, man, I just don't know what happened. We just kind of fell out, or we just kind of whatever. Or, man, I don't know what happened. I guess I just didn't know enough about business, or I didn't X, Y, and Z. These are the same principles that you'll fail by, whether in fitness, in your business, your family, in your marriage, it doesn't matter. These principles are still the same thing. So emotional intelligence and mindset focus is going to be paramount on anything that you desire to pursue with greatness and to actually achieve with fulfillment. So nevertheless, these are the sort of things that we focus on within the, I would say, within the camp of emotional intelligence and mindset. And these areas make such an impact for clients. These are the things that I have used over the years to be able to keep myself in shape, to be able to keep my business growing, and to be able to keep my marriage, to where my wife doesn't want to smother me with a pillow at night while I'm sleeping. Obviously, I'm kidding. The point is that when you have something that you want, why not align your habits, your mindset, your emotional intelligence with those things? Okay? So I hope that this has helped you guys. I also want to leave you guys in the link above. If you go to lancecronecoaching.com/quiz, you can take a free fitness alignment strategy quiz, and this is going to give you your free fitness alignment strategy, which is going to help you to figure out which of the 5 critical elements of a permanent transformation might be out of alignment for you. So it's totally free. It takes about 90 seconds, pretty quick, and it is going to give you a gift that's going to kind of show you immediately your course of action to get yourself back into alignment. So don't skip that. Be sure to do that. That's something totally awesome that is free, and it will help you. Also, you should get a link to get you into our free group called Elevate Your Body Confidence. That group is amazing, and I've got some trainings coming up that I want to share with you. We're going to be doing some really, really cool things on calculating macros, on understanding the depth of emotional intelligence, and even understanding how to choose supplements and kind of being able to read labels. So really cool things. Don't miss that. You can also find the link on my Facebook profile as well. So thanks so much for joining in, guys. Catch me tomorrow. We're going to be chatting about part 3, which is nutrition structure for permanent and sustainable fitness success. Don't miss that. I'll catch you guys on